YouTube, you already know who it is, baby. It's Yugi Skull back at it again with a brand new Blue Eyes PRIMITE deck profile for you guys, plus combos, mainly combos, then also deck profile. And we're gonna also do some test hands. As you guys know, Duelist Advance is now officially in Premiere. It's coming out very, very soon. We're heading into a brand new format, lots of new decks. It's definitely gonna shake up the meta. It's even more shaken up post Justice Hunters, but um, a lot of rumblings in the community, in the Blue Eyes community, that the support for Blue Eyes is just dropping now is just not worth it. I disagree, and I've done the math and done the cooking for you guys, so you don't have to think twice. So I recently just posted in the community this exact same list, which is a more of like a combo style Blue Eyes deck profile that's more pile style, so it's like over 50 cards, around 50 cards. So yeah, it's important to set the context of where we've been first and foremost. So in the past, we've seen a lot of good success with this like close to 40 hand trap heavy um Blue Eyes Primite deck list. So a lot of hand traps. This very same list, for example, that I was piloting had about 20 different hand traps. It could go up to even more, and then post side, it could probably side in a little bit more uh breakers as well, just to kind of supplement some of the matchups that we lose. So for example, for Ryzeal, you'd put in like the Ultimate Slayers with Thrust package for detonator outs. But yeah, can't really talk too much about the old list. The old list, I think, is very much figured out at this point, especially before the duel's advanced support. And yeah, there's just no contention about it. The Primite stuff is just probably the most competitive with the Blue Eyes engine from the structure decks. But yeah, so we come from now from the perspective post Duelist Advance, where we've gotten now access to the new Kaiba Man retrain, and then we also have access to now also primarily the Primite Fusion. So those are the two big cards that I think are going to reshape how we actually think about and approach deck building for Blue Eyes and also the Primite stuff, because you have a new Blue Eyes engine card and then a new Primite engine card. So I went with a pile approach, and believe it or not, the math actually checks out where you have 20 different one card combos within this deck, slash like 1.5 card combos if you count wishes as a one card combo because it discards one for resolution for its cost. So we have 20 different ways to get our combos started, and then also 20 different non-engine cards so that are going to be even more impactful ratio-wise if we actually end up going second and we gain access to our mulch armies. So if you guys saw on the last list, we were remaining three in the regionals where I went top 16. I got ninth place in the city of Toronto, almost top eight. I was actually playing four mulch armies in 43. The odds actually check out that, if you do six in a list of 50, it's actually better odds at seeing them. And one of the reasons why you actually have to go up in terms of deck count when you do get um a lot more additions to bricks to the deck, because let's just kind of get this out the door here. The new combo variant of Blue Eyes Primate definitely has a lot more bricks, but we work around those bricks and we solve the bricks issue by adding more starters and adding more non-engine that is going to allow us to actually interact with our opponent. And in this case, the new starter that we've added is just Bingo Machine Go, just so that we have six different ways at resolving wishes within the deck. And then also your Kaiba Man technically is an additional normal for the deck. So he is a one card combo, same way Sage or Maiden is as well. So yeah, let's go through the cards. So really standard, I would say, deck in terms of framework. So again, 20 hand traps, 20 starters as well. So really, really good odds to keep the combos going and have something to do first or second. So we got Ash, Bestial Magma, which is a um hand trap slash starter technically. I do count it towards my starter count going second because it technically does give you access to Primite Ether Barrel. You got draw, you got the one Veiler. You still kind of need the one Veiler, I find, depending on like how you open your hands. Having access to one is usually pretty good at elevating like the ceiling of your end board. You only need one Kaiba man. I find this one actually he's not great as a initial move, turn zero, just because you can't actually link him off into the link one. So he's a really good extender, and unless you absolutely must, a half decent starter. Three maiden, we're maxed out. We're maining six more Charmies because again, this is a list of 50. Nibiru maxed out, Ether's maxed out, Sage is maxed out. We are maxed out on Blue Eyes just to be able to have that extended deeper combo lines with the Kaiba man. Then we actually have some spice in here. I got this. I've been taking a look at some of the YouTube videos out there. Also came across some OCG deck lists that are utilizing this tech, which is really really sweet with the Trihorn Dragon in combination with the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. Then we have the Chaos Max again, another added brick into the deck because we are going to be running the Magia package. We got the three additional wishes on top of the OG wishes because in a deck of 50, it's very uncommon to actually get access to bingo as well as wishes. Sometimes it's like one or the other. So in that case, you just, you get access to wishes. Field spell, three drill beams, just because a lot of times what you're going to be using your ether or your load is going to actually, you're attempting to get access to Primite Fusion throughout your combo lines. So having access to drill beam, you actually want to see this in your opening hand because one, you can either, if you have it, it makes for an immediate additional layer of disruption. So that way you could actually go about building like a bigger board using Primite Fusion. But going second, with all the Mulcharmies, it makes for an excellent board breaker. You could get away with one, but I mean, I feel like at that point you're just not even going to be playing Drill Beam. Like Drill Beam is going to be like a turn three play once you start to recur back your Ether Barrel from the graveyard. But at that point, if you've survived turn one, you're probably already winning the game anyways. So I think three is correct in the pile approach for Blue Eyes Primite. We got the one brick, of course, the Primite Fusion. Three loads, one roar. No majesty. We are using the ultimate fusion that can grant you the power to pop, but also is going to be the card you use for Magia. Three wishes. You have to max out on this. The conversation of two is no longer a thing because again, this is a pile. Purge, and then of course the True Light. The cool thing about Purge in this with the Megs, because we're running more cards, this conflict of Purge and Ash with the Magma Hut being turned off is just no longer a thing, which is really cool in the higher deck count. And then in the side, I think the only thing to really like pay attention to is the maximized thrust slash talents package. This applies to like most deck building theory out there. Like when you go into the realm of like 45, 50, 50 plus deck count lists, piles, thrust actually becomes a lot more impactful. What you should be thinking about post side, given yes that there's a lot of bricks, going second, you're gonna want to side out your Kaiba man. You're gonna want to side out your Chaos Max because again, he's just a combo piece. You're not actually ever gonna summon this thing. You're gonna want to side out like your Primite Fusion or even like some of your other stuff as well that are bricks, such as your third Blue Eyes. You're gonna take those out and you're gonna drop these in so that way you can have 6 to 9 Malcharmies against any given matchup. Then you draw into these, which can act as board breakers slash extenders to your combos, because Thrust can give you access to wishes, could give you access to Roar, could give you access to talents to break boards, Pot if you want to maybe, I don't know, add something else. It can even give you access to Duster to start blowing out your opponent's board, things like that. Cool. For the extra, we've got Tyrant, Blue Eyes Ultimate, the Magia himself, Light and Darkness, Dragon Lord. We'll get into the combo of how we actually use this with the Trihorn Dragon. And then the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Two spirits. You probably should be thinking about three, but I haven't been able to fit it in. Comment below what to cut. But two I think is just fine. Ultimate Crimson, Lightstorm Dragon for back row. We got Seifer as well. Typhon primarily for the Ryzeal matchup into Detonator because we just can't play under that thing. Seals and then the two link ones, also mandatory as well. So very standard, I would say, list. The cool thing to also note is with the Primite Fusion and Magia builds, I find the Crimson line actually complements those boards because you're playing into Nibiru and through Nibiru anyways. So beefing up the ceiling of the deck actually makes a lot more sense because it actually forces your opponent to play the Nibiru instead of holding it for whatever possible reason. I think, post Duelist Advance, like with the old deck of going, Spirit, set Drill Beam, and then Hand Traps pass back, it might be okay, but in other cases, maybe it might not. Even again, like right now against Mitsurugi Rising, like I find the minute they tribute, they activate prayers and they tribute anything, it almost is like a board breaking action on its own. So it's a lot of it's just a lot of power I find, and are very, very like mid range, close to the ground, and board just may not be enough, perhaps moving forward due to power creep. Cool, but that's it in terms of the deck. Again, like guys, give it a shot. I know like immediately you're looking at this list, you're thinking, oh my God, four vanillas. So it's four bricks, five, six, seven, eight, nine bricks in 52. It's a lot, right? I think in the past, in the 42 list, we were running five bricks in 40, but now we're almost like 10 bricks in 50. Again, the reality is the way the math checks out is, because we've improved the number of hand traps of like in terms of non-engine and your starters, you're diluting the risk of seeing too many bricks. Like seeing one or two bricks is actually okay with blue eyes. And then given what we've done here to mitigate that risk, I think this strategy actually has some legs to it in a competitive scene. Maybe good for locals. You could probably like win locals with this. Maybe good for regionals as well. I don't think maybe this list wins like an NAWCQ. Perhaps that's a little bit too much of wishful thinking. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Definitely some good learnings, I think, in this list in terms of, potential tech options and deck building. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into some replays. I think I want to do, let me see. I think I've got looks like, oh, that's a two-card combo. Okay, we're gonna go with the one-card combo started with Sage. Same thing as you can do like Wishes or any of the one-card combos that we talked about. Technically, this is a 1.5 because we are holding on to a Molcharmi Fuvulos just to have as a discard for Wishes later on in the combo. Well, here's to show you guys what we can actually get done, what we can accomplish with just one normal summon of a Sage, which is really powerful. So Sage for Maiden, Sage for Link 1 into Mausoleum, activate the Mausoleum, dump Blue Eyes, Maiden, and we're gonna go for the wishes. You're gonna discard the random junk. Here's where we actually differ from your typical line of play. We're gonna actually add the new Kaiba retrain and the ultimate fusion as well. We're gonna go for the second summon Kaiba Man, get out our blue eyes, we'll banish wishes. Here we're gonna equip the old school blue eyes ultimate, not the Neo. That's why you do play both, because here we do have Magia access. Let me go spirit. And then after we make the spirit, we're gonna special summon the second uh Blue Eyes using the Link one. Keep a note here, guys, because we technically checked for Ash Blossom using wishes. The chain link on the summon of the second Blue Eyes from the graveyard with Maiden as well as your Kaiba should be chain one Maiden, chain two Kaiba meant to add because you already know that they don't have Ash Blossom because they would have easily just hit the wishes discarding one because that's the most amount of value they can get. So you can already assume that you've checked off Ash in your mental checklist of potential threats that your opponent might have. So you're gonna actually insulate the maiden, potentially getting Belled as your chain one. So you're gonna chain block against Bell because you already checked for Ash Blossom. Just a pro tip. So we're gonna summon the maiden as well as the blue eyes. We're not gonna commit our second spirit just yet because what we're gonna do is just gonna summon out the Magia. Because, oh, there we go. Sorry, we had a little bit of a screen issue there. And the reason you want to do this is you want to keep the second one in deck in case you get nibbed on your Ultimate Fusion, because they might make the read that you're about to summon out the big boy himself, Magia. And if they don't nib you, you can just assume that they don't have it. And if they do have it, just Magia checks it. Anyways, it also checks the interaction of them having nib, then imperm, because this can just negate unlimited times per chain if it wants to, if it's like monster then trap or like monster spell, for example. And then you go second spear, then you can start facilitating your crimson lines, and you just get the ultimate dragon tagged out. And then you also get the Seafer tagged in as well. You go end phase. This does not get popped off of the lingering effect of the Spirit Dragon that's engraved, just because this thing technically will protect it first time from its own destruction. So you essentially actually get access to 8 different negates here, which is kind of insane. So Floodgate, negate, that's 2 things going for the ultimateness. 3 negates plus it floats. This thing floats too. So 2 flotations, and then your True Light is crackback. So you have 2 floaties for crackback, as well as True Light for crackback. I think this thing floats too, the Seafer. Yeah, no, but you don't use it because there's no Stardust. Okay. So yeah, 2 floaties and True Light for crackback. 4 negates off of these two. 5 if you count the Seafer. Um, yeah, 5 dynamic interrupts plus floodgates, which is really because this is a floodgate, and then yeah, so really good combo. Love it. Learn it, love it, guys. It's really, really good. It's very powerful. Um, Here is like full combo if you do have access to the PRIMITE engine as well as your Blue Eyes engine in tandem. And again, like this was just like a random test hand that I was able to actually just write the Gecko open and just start playing with. No bricks. Yeah, there's a repeat in Dominus Purge, but this could have easily been like a second hand trap. But yeah, really, really good in terms of consistency, even with the added bricks. Because again, guys, we were working through it in terms of a bigger deck count and more starters. So we went Ether for load for Promite Fusion, Link one into probably Mausoleum. We're gonna use the Mausoleum. Oh, we're gonna use Bingo. We're gonna add Wishes off the Bingo. And then we're gonna go Wishes, dump the second hand trap we don't want. We're gonna add the Kaiba Man and the Ultimate Fusion, very standard stuff. We'll go Kaiba Man. And then we're gonna equip the Ultimate Dragon and the OG. We're gonna go into a Spirit. And then we're gonna go in for the second Blue Eyes. Kaiba Man adds the Chaos Max. Here, we've decided to actually go for the Spirit before committing the Magia, but like in hindsight, you should probably always make Magia here first. Because if they nib you throughout your Crimson line, you just wasted both of your Spirit Dragons. At least this way, if you go Magia first, you keep one of your Spirit Dragons in the deck. So yeah, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, if they nib you through Crimson line, so be it. If they don't, you're not gonna get access to another Spirit anyways, but you will have access to the Magia, and then also the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord as well through the help of our Primite engine. And you'll also notice, guys, we haven't actually committed our Mausoleum of White dump to the graveyard, which will come later in the combo. The reason we do this in terms of waiting is because Spirit Dragon actually can check any Bestials or even DD Crow interacting with our graveyard. Because let's say we decide to go Primate Fusion or Ultimate Fusion, which we are fusing out the grave at this in this case, you could just tag this out, facilitate your Crimson lines, get your Ultimate Dragon on board, thus stopping any of the graveyard interactions that would ultimately like banish your material that you want to use to fuse. So yeah, like you could go Magia first, you could wait. Again, if they have Nib, you're just not gonna have Crimson Lion access or even Spirit Dragon access, but you'll have Magia access and the Darkness Dragon Lord. That's the way I've been thinking about it in terms of combo line sequencing. So yeah, we go into the Crimson line, we get Seifer as well as the Ultimatus. At this point, we're insulated from Nib with Seifer. We're insulated also from things such as like Impulse, if we wanna now like freely use the Ultimate Fusion or the Primate Fusion. Because in theory, if you go Ultimate Fusion first, you your regular Spear Dragon is simply not checking for those cards, but like this setup is actually checking for Bestials plus Impulse as well. Plus Nib. Yeah, plus Nib. Coolio. We're gonna continue, then we go Magia, boom, big boy comes down, and finally. We're gonna go Mausoleum of White, dump the Tri-Horde Dragon, because this actually does not need to dump Blue Eyes, although it is a Blue Eyes card, it can dump any vanilla. So it says you can target one monster you control, send one normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. So this actually does facilitate some really cool Primite engine plays as well. And then you're gonna make the Light and Darkness Dragon as a last action, just because this is a mandatory quick effect that will stop also like your hand traps and other interrupts. So like you in theory you can't make this and then try to go, for example, wishes. Your wishes will get negated by this thing. So you always must make this thing as a last action and a last layer to your end board. But a still really good layer of insulation nonetheless. Because when you pass to your opponent, you're not going to use any of these effects. You're immediately going to let this thing exhaust its negates, then you can start messing around with all your other negates on board. One cool thing about this card that actually makes it really attractive to use in this deck is you can still use cards such as continuous spells and traps, which we do have plenty of in the shape of True Light, Lordly Load, or even the Mausoleums, because this negates card activation. Technically, cards like Load and True Light are already active on the field, so you're only using effects, you're not activating cards. So that means you are free to use these effects throughout the combo if you do somehow get this thing out early for whatever reason. But yeah, that is the full scale end board. If you had also like a drill beam opened up, because we play three, you just set the drill beam and then when you pass your opponent and draw, again, you go True Light, summon out a Blue Eyes. You don't summon a Mayday, just Blue Eyes, because you have a perfect spot right here for the Blue Eyes. And um you wouldn't use it right away because you want to exhaust this first, then you can have your drill beam online if you want. So yeah, really cool. And the only thing that outs this is maybe like, I don't know, droplet, but even then they have to like discard four. Because you have like four bodies on board that do some kind of negation. So they're gonna have to like, I don't know, play a card, chain droplet, tag it out, and throw like three more cards or like two more cards or whatever. At this point, they don't have enough to play with because you also have hand traps as well in your hand. Like we already have a purge, you could have potentially more stuff as well. All right, and now I'm gonna show you guys I think it's a two-card combo that plays under Droll and Nibiru. So the reason why I want to showcase this line of plays because there could be some concerns here because the deck has more bricks and it's a bigger list, that it's like more combo heavy and it's just gonna lose to more of like the bigger blowout cards such as Nibiru or even Droll and Lockbird. But the reality is, although this deck has now like an increased ceiling, you can still end on like your classical end boards that you're used to. Just because again, we've supplemented the deck with even more starters because it's a bigger list, but we've also diluted the risk of like seeing too much bricks because we have more starters, more non-engine that's actually impactful, and the ratios do check out if we compare it like apples to apples with the old school, 40, 42, 43 list with Blue Eyes Primite. So with that being said, you could still do like very much like baby boards, like mid-range boards, and still have like two or three pieces of non-engine in your hand that you just happen to open because the ratios check out and the cards that you're going to see still can facilitate those same old mid-range boards that we're used to. So in this case, this is a two-card combo that's going to play under Droll and Nib because we open Ether as well as Maiden. Any hand that has Maiden is already really, really good. And so it really does not matter if, you're using things such as Um, if you're being hit with cards like Nibiru or Jolt, because if you have Maiden Access, you just rest assured you're gonna end on Spirit Dragon. No, no problem. Cool. Um, so we're gonna go normal summon Ether for load for Primite Fusion. We get Drolled. We're gonna go Maiden as the second action into the Roar for after the True Light. We'll get the Blue Eyes and Maiden on board, and then we're gonna make the Spirit. Then we're gonna use the hidden effect. Let's just pause there. We're going to use the hidden effect of Ether Barrel to actually dump excuse me. I believe, what did we do here? We used Ether Barrel to dump any vanilla into the graveyard. In this case, we dumped our Trihorn Dragon, and then we activated Primite Fusion as the final action, as we discussed, and we just made the Light and Darkness, Dark the Light and Darkness Dragon Lord as our fifth summon. So now, if they try to nib us, it's gonna trade one for one with our one of our negates on the Dragon Lord. So what do we have here? We've got um Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, which is a Grave negate and a field negate because it floats into Ultimate Dragon, the Ultimate Spirit. Ultimate Spirit is also Floodgate for your graveyard, so they can't tamper with your graveyard with like Bestials or DD Crow. So that's like, Floodgate, two negates, a grave, and a field. And you have three negates off the Light and Darkness Dragon. That's five negates. And then plus you also have three pieces of non-engine in your hand. Because this was a two-card combo with Ether as well as Maiden. Really, really good. They're not going to break this. Even if they have the droplet and they drop it the whole board, that's completely fine because not only do you have a lot of crackback, because Ether Barrel is going to come back on the next standby phase, and you also have True Light in rotation. So you could potentially, set some card and like get Blue Eyes back out onto the board. Really, really good stuff. But you also are going to have two to three pieces of non-engine because you play 20 different hand traps as well. So really, really cool. The last thing I want to do is just do, I think, like 10 or 12 different test hands for you guys, just to show you like the whole argument of brick is you can solve it with proper deck building theory. So don't be alarmed just by like seeing a deck list as face value and seeing four vanillas, because again, we're playing around that and we're ensuring that we're doing the right thing when it comes to deck building, so that way you're mitigating the risk, so to speak. Opening end, beautiful. Imagine we go first with this. You have a one card combo, no problem. This is more of a go second hand for sure. Like I wouldn't say this is like a full 5 out of 10 in terms of a hand, but it's still playable depending on what hand traps your opponent has. Going second, this is fantastic because you're gonna draw into cards, and look at that, we're already drawing into the secondary agent of Primite, and then we also have wishes. So two draws off maybe like two Perulias, and you already have really, really good access to floodgate your opponent and threaten more draws and also draw into some really, really good engine. Okay, that's 1 of 10. Let's try again. See what we get. Oh, beautiful. This hand is good first and second, in my opinion. Going first, we have Droll, Chummy, as well as Nibiru. So, and then you also have access to Paramount Ether Barrel, and then also your Bingo, which is essentially going to be Wishes. And again, this is a 50 deck list. It's very rare that you're going to actually see Bingo and Wishes. So more often than not, just going to act as like a bonfire for Wishes anyways. And then your sixth draw with another Droll. And then you got another hand trap. Really good. Definitely playable first or second. All right. Test hand three. Gorgeous. This is what you want to see. We got our Chummy, which is probably going to be the stronger Perulia, a stronger Mulcharmy post DUAD, just due to Vanquish Soul being a really, really good deck. There's going to be a lot of specialing from the hand. And you also have full combo with Ether as well as Maiden, just simply on their own. Then you draw six into brick, not bad. Another, oh, and then you also have another draw into Nibiru, because again, this is a Perulia hand. Let's do test hand four. Again, very playable. Going second, no hand trap, so that's a problem, but you do have Drill Beam. Sixth card is a Veiler, so not bad. Also, again, very, very playable. Not seeing bricks, because we've diluted them through our deck building process. Test hand five. We got two hand traps and full Blue Eyes combo. Beautiful. Also plays under Droll because of Maiden. This is also a gorgeous, gorgeous hand. You got Kaiba Man, Maiden, Purge, Mag, as well as Fua. Draw into load. Huge. Um, there you go, guys. Again, more playable hands. Excellent, excellent deck building here. We'll do a couple more. Again, three hand traps, full combo with the Maiden. Nibiru for turn. Not bad. Very, very good. We'll do two more. This was kind of shitty. Two Blue Eyes and a Roar, but you do have Bingo, which is Wishes, as well as Perule, which is going to give us some draws. And we drew into, a repeat, but then also another hand trap. So not bad. And the final one, just to kind of round off the video. Kyle Man Maiden, Chaos Max, Brick, Muslin Brick, and then Fua. So not bad. You can go first, but then if you do go second, you're gonna do draw into Ash, draw into Droll. We'll take it. This isn't bad, guys. Very, very playable. Very, very threatening, I would say, in terms of being able to combo under certain cards. This is also not bad going first or second. You just pass back and you're just gonna draw a lot of stuff, and then your opponent is forced to pass back your way after doing like minimal damage. Yeah, see. There you go, guys. We've solved it together. There you go. We've solved it. We've solved Blue Eyes combo with the new support again. There you go. Wishes by way of Bingo, Perulia, Nib, Mag, which is a starter into the Primite engine because you can grab Ether. And then you can draw. We did draw some bricks there, but that's not bad. Yep, that's it from me, guys. We did some test hands, very minimal bricking, um, through again proper deck building strategy and theory. Let me just pull up the list one more time so you guys can take a look, and we will call it a video. There you have it. Blue Eyes pile going a little bit more combo heavy, but we showed you guys how to actually, plan accordingly in terms of your lines and the threats that you could be facing in the meta, like based off of hand traps. Yeah, this is the list. I'm actually gonna try this out once I get some of these cards in. I just picked up my Kaiba Man and also picked up like a Trihorn and this branded card. Like it's crazy. This could used to be a branded card. Now it's a Blue Eyes card, which is quite exciting. Also have my Seifer coming in as well, which is gonna be really cool. Yeah, just another way of playing the deck. I think it has some legs to it. It's gonna be competitive for sure. Maybe not like a tier 3 event, but definitely good for a regional. Definitely fantastic, fantastic option for locals. It kind of feels like a stronger White Forest. Um, but yeah, that's just again from my observation with the deck. So we're gonna call it a video, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck theory, this deck building, this list, and also some of the combo lines that I shared. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.